What is happening, YouTube? So, after a really embarrassing loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, we pretty much traveled to New York and we faced off against the New York Knicks, and we almost got embarrassed once again. The first half, mainly the first quarter, we were taking control of everything. We were heating up, we were cooking, everything was going towards our favor. And then the second quarter, the Knicks got some momentum and everything, and the Clippers still had a decently respectable lead throughout until like the fourth quarter, and then that's when everything looked like was falling apart. Some of it is just part of the Knicks just getting really hot, and others are just part of the Clippers defense is just being pretty loose. It's not like at his best, and of course, Ty Lue rotations also is part of the blame. He did a little bit better compared to last game. When last game he just simply played Reggie throughout the crunch minutes, which is I know I really want to show nothing but love for Reggie. He's a genuine good dude. He's a great locker room guy, but you got to go with the better player like a Terrence Mann during a crunch time. And Ty Lue did it a bit, but it was way too delayed. I feel like the only minutes Reggie should have got was maybe like the first half, and Reggie was not really at his best, to be honest with you. And Reggie, and I would say Morris did do pretty good, but at the same time, though, his defense gets stagnant at times as well too. And Ty Lue, he went small against this New York Knicks team, and the Knicks, they're more of a big man oriented type team. They got Randall, Sims, and Isaiah Hartenstein, and he chose to go small. He chose to go with Norman Powell and Reggie Jackson backcourt rather than choosing to go with Musa Diabate in the rotation, or at least Robert Covington, which is pretty much that's my personal problem with Ty Lue, and we pretty much just give up too much leads. And of course, it's not all 100% on Ty Lue. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'll admit Kawhi was getting scored on a decent amount of times as well too. He got Grimes hitting shots on him. Um, Brunson dropping 41. Even though Reggie was off during like off on the bench during like the last 6 minutes, but at the same time, it is part of the fact that in the like maybe like the later of the third quarter, um, Ty Lue's rotation might have definitely played a factor, but it was just a combination of everything. But thank goodness we won. But it was a really ugly win in my opinion. But a win is a win. So Kawhi Leonard, he had a really good 35 points. He had 4 steals, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He did get scored on more often than he should usually get scored on, but he definitely made it up eventually with a good amount of steals and a good amount of points. Marcus Morris Sr., his offense is there, and he's getting some rebounds, so that's good. And Morris did mostly good in this game, but just remember, if Morris' shot is not really hitting, he's pretty much a liability. And when Morris' shot was not hitting, he kind of would get taken advantage of on defense at times. And Morris, it's a really tricky situation. When his shot is falling, it's really amazing. But when his shot is not falling, it's just pretty bad. So I'm definitely open to dealing him during the trade deadline. I know it's a tricky situation, but I mean, if you could get something like really, really good, let's just say a farm of picks, in my opinion, I, I'm more open of going for a lot of draft capitals rather than just try to start hunt because, in my humble opinion, the Clippers already have a roster to win it all. Really, they just need to make some smaller tweaks and just maybe sign some other players. Maybe just get Boogie back as our backup big, or maybe a Dwight Howard could be a decent option, or heck, get Hartenstein or Cam Reddish. But the Clippers, after Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, we're not going to really have our picks for a while, so why not just get a plan B? Just my suggestion. Ivica Zubac. Ivica Zubac, he didn't really get fed the ball quite often, but that guy was crushing the glass. 13 boards. Shout out to him. Setting good screens as usual. Very, very solid, good big. Paul George, he was much better this game versus the Bucks. Paul George was much more efficient. He made more of a smarter decision. He got 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 30 points. Just a really good, smooth game. This is the Paul George we would like to see. Terrence Mann, he got 29 minutes, so he got a little bit more minutes rather than be like versus the Bucks. But of course, I would rather just have play him throughout the whole entire what you say, what I call it, the second half, rather than trying to take a chance and play Reggie during the second half and then just have our momentum be messed up. Nico Batum, the hero of the game, amazing. He was clutch. He did everything he could. 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 blocks. Clutch, 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 clutch. Reggie Jackson, man, I know I really want Reggie to succeed, but when he gets on the floor, it's just the other team just gains momentum, and I don't know, man. Like, if the Clippers move on with Reggie Jackson, I think I cannot get mad at it, because despite what he did for us, um, lately he's just not really himself lately throughout the whole entire year, honestly. Like 60% of the games when he would play, other teams would just gain momentum, mainly because Reggie's defense hasn't been the best, and his decision wasn't really the best, and his shots is just not really, falling. So it's pretty unfortunate, but I don't know. And look at all the DNPs that Tyler's been doing. Luke Kennard, Diabate, Covington, Boston Jr. Just so many of these guys should be playing, to be honest with you. Kennard would make pretty smart decisions. Boston Jr. would pretty much bring really good shot creation, and he has more of the hustle and defense. Diabate, which I don't understand how the Clippers are going small before we play Diabate, because Diabate, he would have definitely helped with slowing down a guy like a Julius Randle from threes, or pretty much anybody like a Quentin Grimes. If he gets switched on to anybody, um, I bet the defense would have been a lot better. And same with Robert Covington as well too. I felt him and Morris should have split more of the minutes. In my opinion, maybe Covington at 20 and Morris at 20. I don't know, but Covington would have gotten more rebounds, and the defense would have just been clutch, and the Clippers wouldn't had blown the lead. And Covington would have been pretty good during playing more at the second half to stop the bleeding. Covington, Diabate, Kennard, and Boston Jr. should be getting more minutes, in my opinion, and that's just simply my problem with Ty Lue. But Norman Powell, I just want to shout him out as well too. He was getting buckets during the crunch. He got a beautiful dunk on Julius Randle. Kaboom! And he got 7 rebounds and 3 assists and 1 steals, which is pretty solid performance. But this is a very ugly win, and I know the trade deadline is coming, and I think I'm gonna make a separate video on whether should the Clippers trade for Kyrie or not, and I'm gonna give you my predictions in that video. Now the Knicks. Julius Randle. He made a lot of turnovers, but he was getting a lot of buckets. 2 for 8. He was hitting his mid range. His play style is somewhat like Morris, to be honest with you. Of course, he's more of a big man, and he's a better rebounder. But the way how he shoots the ball, it kind of gives me that type of vibe. I don't know, like kind of would take fadeaways. Morris would do that too. Um, Jericho Sims, he didn't really do anything. He only got 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal. It's just a very neutral factor. I kind of have some type of solid feelings for him that I feel like he's a pretty good, somewhat of a higher motor type of guy, but I guess he's like more of a decent role player, I guess. Jalen Brunson, man, that dude dropped 41 points. Clippers defense got to tighten up, but at the same time, he's a very talented player, so I'd give him that. He got 7 assists and 5 rebounds. Man, crazy, 41 points. RJ Barrett, 14 points, 1 for 8. He had a pretty bad game. RJ Barrett has been pretty inconsistent. One game he would drop 30. One game he would just drop 14. Quentin Grimes, that dude was clutch during. He was just clutch. He was hitting threes. He was even hitting threes on Kawhi. That was just crazy. And situations like these, especially when the Knicks gets wide open threes, that's where a guy like Diabate could have really helped because he is so darn switchable. And Covington and Diabate. Tyloo, man, why can't you try a Diabate and Covington front court? That would be so beautiful for a very for like a faster paced team or when teams just get hot. That would suffocate the defense really good. But that's just my personal 2 cents. And then Obi Toppin, solid 8 points. Isaiah Hartenstein, former Clipper, shout out to you, man. Who knows? You could be a Clipper after the trade deadline. Hopefully that'll be the case. Um, Zubac, in my opinion, eh, him and Zubac kind of went toe to toe. Zubac was just more of the better rebounder. He's more of a true big man. Isaiah Hartenstein just got some wide open plays. He brought the motor and everything. But Zubac is more of a rock solid type big. But hey, Hartenstein reunion that definitely will not hurt. And he got 4 assists too, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Man, he brings a pretty good motor. I wanted to see Hartenstein versus Diabate, to be honest with you, because I personally think Diabate could be as good as Hartenstein, if not better. I will say Diabate is more switchable than Isaiah Hartenstein in terms of the perimeter, but Hartenstein is he's more sturdy. He's more of a big man than Diabate, but Diabate, man, got I don't know why he's not playing. That shit just hurts my head when he's not playing. Deuce McBride, solid back a big, 8 points, +5, got 1 steal, 3 rebounds, solid. Emmanuel Quickly, 3 for 12. He hits some shots, even kind of like I think during the second half, but he was missing a lot of shots. And Tom Thibodeau, um, he's definitely tripping for not playing Cam Reddish. I want to say thank goodness he didn't play Cam Reddish because if he did, I'm not gonna lie, Cam Reddish would have locked up at least Marcus Morris or Paul George a little bit more, and we would have probably lost the game. So hopefully, instead of the Clippers trying to go for Kyrie Irving and trying to look pretty on the paper, I think the Clippers should try to go for a Cam Reddish or an Isaiah Hartenstein really, because I don't want the Clippers to dig a hole just for one or two good years, because Kyrie contract, he's going to be a complete free agent and he's going to demand a lot of money, and if we like give him like a 4-year $198 million, we might it might be like we might have to trade other players just to pay all three, Kawhi, Paul George, and Kyrie. And depth is really important in the modern NBA, and star hunting is not really the way to go, to be honest with you, because we don't want to see another Zach LaVine for Jimmy Butler situation, PG for Shea, um, Ingram, Lonzo, all the picks for AD, or KG for uh, a boatload of picks. That I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm more of a long-term type of guy because in my opinion, 2 stars is enough, and then your job is to fill up the roster and just put in the right rotations, in my opinion. But that's just like really my 2 cents. If I were to be honest with you, I might actually just give like what I would do in my opinion to improve the Clippers for now. Obviously, number one, I would take advantage of the Milwaukee Bucks. Why the Milwaukee Bucks? The Milwaukee Bucks were willing to give 4 second rounders for Eric Gordon. Um, and now supposedly they want to get Jay Crowder. Marcus Morris is levels ahead of Jay Crowder. So I could see the Milwaukee Bucks being gullible to mortgage a good amount of their future for Marcus Morris. One first round pick and probably 2 second rounders. Maybe get Ibaka back and whoever just fills out, to match the contract. Maybe Nawara or whatever. I mean, I'm not like necessarily I'm a complete Morris hater, but sometimes when he's off, it is pretty bad. And also, it frees up for guys like Robert Covington, who brings in the defense and the rebounding. And if you guys want to keep Morris, and if you're more of a Morris fan, I definitely respect your point of view. Like I said, when he's clicking, it's very beautiful. So, so if you're more on the keep Marcus Morris camp, or I definitely respect your point of view for sure. But that's just my opinion. It pretty much is insurance for the future after when Kawhi and Paul George would retire, or let's just say if everything messes up, you at least have some picks. Let's just say in 2026 and everything, because some of the draft class we won't even have any draft picks. So you got to play chess, not checkers. And then number two, um, maybe um, look to flip Reggie Jackson for something, just anything that could be valuable. Maybe to the Wizards for DeLon Wright. I don't know exactly, but maybe that could be option, or I don't know. But then the key players I would just go after really is um, probably Cameron Reddish, because Cam Reddish, you're not gonna really because you could really get this guy for pennies, really, because Cam Reddish, supposedly the Knicks are only winning like a second rounder or two, so I could maybe give like a second rounder or a second rounder and Amir Coffee for a Cam Reddish, and probably get Hartenstein back if we could, and probably just dump Reggie Jackson for something else, and then. But then the tricky thing is who's gonna really be our point guard. So I don't know. So maybe if we keep Reggie, that'll be fine. But uh, I don't know. But see, Reggie when he plays, he tends to be a liability. Then, but then you can use Terrence Mann as a point guard. Like you can mold Terrence Mann as a point guard, and then John Wall, you could try to play him with the main guys too. Because John Wall, I have a softer spot for John Wall. I feel like John Wall's he looks bad because he keeps playing with those ridiculous three-guard lineups. He keeps playing with um, Powell, Kennard, and Terrence Mann at the same lineup. So, of course, his defense is going to look bad and his production is not going to be the best. But if he played with Kawhi and Paul George, he could have gave them more better looks, and he could have, I don't know, just throw him more dimers. And I feel like Ty Lue needs to have Wall feed Zubac more, in my opinion. But anyways, going back of who I would go after, I would rather go for like a smaller trade, like a Cam Reddish, or maybe if you want to get a little big, maybe get Mo Bamba from Orlando or Jonathan Isaacs. Mo Bamba would actually be a really fun addition because the Orlando Magics have so many bigs. They have Wendell, they have Bobo, they got Banchero, they got man, just a lot of bigs. So I could, and also they got Mo Wagner as well too. So they might be more prone to giving up Bamba. So heck, maybe I don't know, maybe a Luke Kennard could probably do, I guess. And I would rather personally save Kennard and Norman Powell for the draft night, in my opinion, because I feel like this upcoming draft is very stacked. But if we get Mo Bamba, that'll be fine too. But that's just my personal 2 cents, really. Um, I heard other rumors of D'Angelo Russell, Nas Reed, Christian Wood. Again, we'll see what happens. As long as we don't give up too much, as long as we don't give up any unprotected first rounders or Brandon Boston, Man, Kawhi, Paul George, Zubac, I guess that I could let that slide. I don't want to give up Covington either. Um, but mainly, Boston Jr. has to stay. Terrence Mann has to stay. Has to stay. Kawhi Paul George, obvious reasons. Relko should stay as well too. But that, and also, like I said, I prefer to keep Kennard and Powell for more of a better chess move trade, really. But if it's for like some really young, freakish, athletic upside player like Bamba, I guess I could be open minded to that. But to keep it a beam, I'd rather have Diabate be playing as our backup big. That's our main thing. That's our main thing. What I would do too if I was the general manager, I would either encourage Ty Lue to switch up the rotations and stop trying to play too much favoritism and get guys like Rocco more minutes and mainly focus on getting Diabate more minutes or just get Ty Lue the heck out of here. To be honest with you, because I'm not feeling comfortable with Ty Lue, to be honest with you, because some games he's just been pretty bad and his rotations have been god awful. For example, Oklahoma City Thunders. We should not have lost to them. The Pacers. We should not have lost to them. He put Paul George as center before giving Diabate the minutes. The Milwaukee Bucks. Even this game too. Like even we won. I felt like Ty Lue coaching was to make a point. Ty Lue's coaching has went on a downhill compared to 2021 in the playoffs. And even 2021 in the playoffs, some games he coached pretty questionable too. So, shoot. That's just, hey, that's just my personal opinion. Let me know on what y'all think about the Clippers versus the Knicks. Um, do you think, what do you think could the Clippers pretty much do to improve, really? And I would like to hear your opinions. And also, stay tuned on the Kyrie Irving video. I'm going to make my separate opinion on that. And as y'all know, have a great night or have a great day or whatever time you're watching it. And, much love and peace.